Hey everyone, it's the Millennial Matchmaker coming in. It's Thanksgiving week and I have my wonderful and oldest brother with me today. How you doing, Greg?
How you doing?
All right, everyone, this is Greg. As you guys know, I'm always out here talking and giving tips. But for once, we're going to have a male perspective. So anytime I need something or I have relationship questions or anything going on, I have the honor of having brothers. And ladies, you need to always use your brothers because they're going to give you the male perspective, because we could talk all we want to, we're blue in the face. But tonight, we're really going to see what men think. So our topic is going to be, as we discuss, how to bring your points up on a scale. How do you get those brownie points for women? And also, how do you lose brownie points? So those are going to be some two big things we could talk about. What are pluses and negatives? So let's just get right into it. You see a woman, whether it's swipe, whether it's meet her out at a bar, wherever it is, what is the number one thing that you feel is important for her to actually be a keeper or a sweeper? Like sweep her out.
So the first thing that I think when you would make her a keeper is value. If you're dating someone, the entire world is built on supply and demand. So if you've run across a woman that you look at as being regular or common, she probably isn't going to fall in the keeper bucket, because a keeper is usually going to be something that you think is a little bit rare, a little bit different, something that's a little bit not able to get access to. And that is what you would want as a long-term person or partner, because of those values that you see.
So what kind of values does a woman need to have? It's like when you hear values, I think Christian, or I think, you know, like, is it more of a religious value, or what? How does a woman have value?
I think every man has their own idea of what they feel is like important to them. So you could have a man who might be interested in a woman who's going to be a great person for the household. There's some men who knowingly have challenges with their finance or challenges with structure, and they know that they need a woman who's going to help be a part of that structure. Some guys literally are looking for a woman kind of keeps his stuff on track, keeps his business on track, keeps his schedules on track. That's what he needs for him to feel like she's a good woman for him. So every person is different, so I don't want to give you a direct answer.
Right.
That's going to tell you an end-all, be-all. What I can say is that in general, when I say value, a man is looking for an individual who's going to make his life experience, or wherever he is at that point in his life, to be better.
Okay. So what does this kind of woman look like? Is there a look? Is there, because I hear the value. I need to know, what does she need to look like? What does she need to present herself like? What are some things that could give you a point? Is it okay for a woman to be on the bigger side? Is it okay for a woman to be too skinny? Is the thick, at least for,
I think that goes back in the points that we talked about with points. I think that all men and women have interest in individuals that look healthy.
Right.
Healthy meaning that your points shoot up tremendously the more healthier you look.
So when you say healthy, that means fit.
Fit is directly correlated to healthy.
Okay, so when you see a big girl, you see it's unhealthy, which means that she doesn't care about her body or has problems with, like, what?
Big girl is beautiful. For some men, that's great. There's nothing wrong with a big woman. I think it's just making sure that...
Because aren't there big, healthy women?
Absolutely. And that's why the man has to decide what works for him. However, on the broad scale of things, just painting with a broad brush, the more fit the woman is, the more options she's gonna have, the more options she's gonna have in a men pool.
Okay, so we hear this. Okay, so fitness is important. We hear this time and time again. She's gonna have more options in the male pool. Why? Is it because a man is visual, and there's just something about a fit woman that he thinks is like, what's so sexy about that? Is it because you guys want to take her to the bikini? Is it because of your friends at the job that you guys want to show this girl off? Is it because of your, what society says is beautiful? Or why is the visual so important for a man?
I think a man innately is built around what he sees. So if you look at the world before man became a part of the world that we know today, and you'll see that men have a thing about building things. There's a natural thing about a man when it comes to the appearance of how he builds structures that sit on top of the earth.
Right.
That's everything you see is a man that builds things to make it happen. I feel like a woman is the exact opposite, but even in a stronger form. She's the builder, but she builds from the inside out. So the importance to the man is the structure he's building on the outside, meaning that he cares about what he sees and what he puts together.
Right.
And so everything around him has to do with the appearance of what is with him, how things are. He builds his life around him. So the things that are around him, which includes the woman, he doesn't build her, but her appearance is important, just like the appearance of other things that he has around him.
So meaning, like, when you think of, like we said, the pyramids, they were beautifully built. When you think of the way that society's built, buildings, skyscrapers, right, roads and trail roads and things that men have envisioned as far as architecture goes and as far as subdivisions goes. And anytime you think of infrastructure, you think beauty. So right, it kind of also pertains to the woman, that men want to build good-looking structures and solid structures.
They want solid structures. That's just a natural innate building. If you get a little boy, he just likes to play with trucks and things that build. That's just now this is just a broad stroke. Once again, this is not something that all men think this, all women think that. But this is just broad
right,
basics.
Right.
And women, on the other hand, if you look at a beautiful garden, let's just talk about a garden.
Right.
You would like to think a lot of times there's a lot of women that are behind the beauty in a garden.
Okay.
Vegetables, fruits, plants, the things that make and create life and that extend our lives, which is the herbs, the foods, the plants, is like the woman that's built inside the ground that you don't see, but it's building things that's even better and have more nourishment, that have the long term. Which I mean, when it comes to that, women see the value inside of the man. The woman sees the value. The woman sees the value inside of the man, just like the seed that she plants in
right,
the garden, and the man sees the beauty on the outside because he sees structure.
Right. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. That's a good way to look at it. So, like you said, like a seed is hidden. It's underneath. It's the inside. It's the interior. It's what the usually what the men can bring to the table that's usually not as visual for a woman is usually what a woman might go for, as opposed to a man. It's the opposite. It's the finished product. It's the result. It's the beauty of the.
It's what comes out the ground.
What comes out of it. Right. So that makes sense. And
beauty, all it does is it gives you an idea of what you assume to be healthy. Does that make sense? So when you're fit, it attaches itself to beauty because it looks as if you have the ability to be healthy and to have long, strong health.
Right. Which is important for a man.
That's the innate core of a man.
Okay.
Now, if you just want to go to basic, straight from the top, a guy who's just going to tell you from the hip what he's feeling is just, I want a girl that looks good. Right. And a woman might say, I just want a man that gives me security, resources, finance,
Provider.
Provider.
Absolutely. So that's one of the ways we could bring points on the scale. So definitely fitness, looking beautiful. The second thing, what other points do you think like that are just checklists? Let's just go down the line and tell me like what does a woman need to do?
There's a few things.
Okay.
These are tips now. Since once again, this is just
a broadcast. No need to. They understand this is for the modern woman and the modern man.
Modern woman, modern man.
Just
America
today.
2020.
2020. Realistic.
But this works universally.
It does.
What I'm about to give.
Okay.
Some of them, at least for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
One of which is scent, smells. Very important for a man. So a woman can increase her points
on the scale.
Points by, we talked about fitness.
Yeah.
A scent is important. And the reason why a scent is important is because there's some women who their attraction is connected to how they smell too.
Really?
Two women can walk past you and both women can have the same number of points. But one woman can have a smell or a scent on her that when she walks past you, she now gives you another additional level of attraction because that smell has a way of
pulling.
Okay, let's go back to even just basics again. We talked about the earth. Someone could tell you that they made you your favorite pie, which is an apple pie, let's say.
Right.
And you would want that pie because you're hungry for that pie. That's your favorite, let's say, dessert.
Right.
But it's a different feeling when you walk into that person's house when they baked it and you smell that apple pie before you ate the apple pie.
Right.
Now you are attracted to getting closer to that apple pie.
Right. So it's like you're enticing. It entices you. It makes you have more anticipation for that taste of the apple pie because they didn't just bring it to you. It wasn't delivered to you. You smelled it so it makes you more craving it. That's the word. So a woman adds more craving based on her smell.
Craving is
a jump.
Craving's that's a strong push, but let's call it. It definitely increases attractiveness.
Smell. So what is it like? Is it Victoria's like a sexy smell? Because like what smells good to one guy might not smell good. You know, there's some cheap perfumes and there's other things. So
that's subjective.
It's subjective.
You can't. I can't tell you that. Yeah. I can tell you scents that I like.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it's going to be against all men have different smells. And there's also something that changed for different men. Like I also like oils. There's certain oils a woman can wear. Some guys get turned off by oils. For me, perfumes and oils, depending on
what kind of oils, like cocoa butter oil?
No, not like that. I mean, the scented oils that you get from there's different vendors who sell oils for.
And you put them like on your wrist to roll on and stuff like that, and you like oils. Yeah. That's nice.
So that's another point. So we talked about fitness.
Fitness, you get points on the scale.
We're talking about perfumes. Let's talk about clothing and fashion.
Yeah. So how important is fashion? I can, as I've said before, go out in, workout clothes. Or, I might be having a Saturday morning, I'm going to run to the grocery store and I'm looking wild. Is that something, and I know we had another, broadcast where Tiffany was talking about marriage, about how important it is. When you're in a relationship, does that really make a difference for a man? Does he want to know that his girl or wife just went to the store and even in the haste of a fast situation looks kind of on the busted side?
Fashion has a way of increasing attractiveness because if fashion is done correctly, it can draw out different versions of that woman, which then opens up another layer of attractiveness.
Right.
So you can have a woman who's a career woman who looks tremendously attractive in her dressed up blouse and skirt. You can have that same woman in workout clothes for the gym, and she's extremely attractive. That same woman, but it's a different way. There's a different way you're looking at her. So those are things that fashion does. And I don't want to get too heavy into that, because that is like, there's a whole list of different things you could do. And different men have different things. Some guys really like high fashion, like, you know, luxury brands and labels. That not automatically most guys. It could be, you know, I think fit, fabric, and fashion. Like, and fit fabric and like relevance, like what's good at that time, what's trending at that time. So what I mean by that is, if a fit is well, if a woman knows how to wear her fit well, the name doesn't have as much, may not be that big important. The fabric she chooses is important. If a guy is into and understands how the fabrics work and just how the fabrics lay on you, that can be a whole nother thing.
So more like just making your clothes look good for your body type, so that it fits and it looks good. Yes. And fashion brings attractiveness. Yes. But I'm saying, as far as, is it okay for, sometimes you're off your game. Is that something for a man to say, no, that's not, you know, it's not going to work tonight. You know, you can't go out. Because there are guys that say that, like, don't leave the house looking like that. Is that a big thing for a woman to have busted days and then some days she has cute days? Or does it every day need to be a cute day? Because there are women that they don't have a day off. They always are on 10.
Well, I'll put it like this. I'll put it like this. If a woman looks for a man for resources and finance and to be a provider, is it okay for him to send you out with his credit cards? And some days it doesn't work, and some days it does work?
No. That would never be okay.
Now, he's still a provider. But that doesn't, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. A man can't, and the thing that's where you're going to get a lot of flack, and we got to get ready for that, is people saying, oh, you ain't dressing up, you don't know what it takes to get dressed up every day. And I don't think a guy is saying you need to be dressed up everywhere you go. But you can't just say, I don't care when I come out some days. If I don't feel like it, I'm just not coming out.
And that happens.
And if that's the case, then it's okay. But understand the type of guy you're going for may
not be the highest quality because you're not giving him the highest
quality. Or you may not land the highest quality. Or you may not saying you won't. You can still. It just, you have to really know who you're going for and what they expect. Yeah.
So we've got fitness.
You've got fitness. We talked about smell.
Scent.
We talked about appearance.
Appearance.
Right.
Fashion.
Yeah.
And then now, what other things? So I got points up. So you met me, I'm fit. Now I smell good. And then I'm always dressed.
Attitude's the biggest thing. Attitude beats everything. Attitude beats all of that.
And so what kind of attitude do you need to have? Because I think that's the biggest...
Your points can jump up tremendously with just...
So the thing is that, how do you get in the door, right? If you don't, you could have the best attitude, but then you don't check off these things.
That's why those other
and
things,
you don't even get the date.
Yeah, those other things are going to...
Or you might get the date, and because, you know, you could be the sweetest person, but because it's not what somebody wants.
Yeah. So attitude is very, very big, because if you have a poor attitude, what happens is you become intolerable. And what holds you up for a person to be around you then becomes those other ancillary things, like what you look like, what you smell like. And those things are only going to really carry you for a little bit of time. The attitude really speaks
keeps you married.
Man.
So what type of attitude is important for women? I know we've talked about submission.
You want to make sure someone can go through all of. I don't even want to say if someone can't express themselves if they're in anger, or they can't express themselves if they're frustrated. You want to be able to get the full body of everything that they're thinking about, whatever they're going through. It's not what you do, it's how you do, and how you do it. It's the communication. I feel is what separates attitude from good attitude from bad attitude. So a good attitude, an example. Or a bad attitude. Let's start with a bad attitude. A bad attitude example would be the person has a bad day and they take it out, or a woman has a bad day and she comes home and takes it out on the guy who's at the house, which is her mate or her significant other, whatever that may be. As for the good person or the good attitude, she has a bad day. She comes home and she explains the events that led her into the bad attitude, and then allows the dialogue to help find solutions or ways that either one, that doesn't happen again, or how she can get coached or how she can get support to get through that attitude to become better. And she's open to that. That's a great attitude. And not a great attitude, a bad attitude is someone who just, they said attitudes are contagious. So when you bring that in and you throwing that up on people,
yeah,
it doesn't help anything that you're doing together. And it's not something for someone to just learn. That's just how you are. Because if they do, they're really just understanding your flaw, which is something that if you have that, then you need to just know that that's what that is, and then encourage yourself to find assistance to get through that.
Yeah. And then, so the thing is for those like myself, that if you're married, you understand quickly that once things, like I always say, once things happen one time, it can become a habit where if you don't check it the first time, like you said, that bad attitude or just unagreeableness or someone that's not open to being coached, someone that doesn't want to find solutions, they just want to complain about the problem, normally it becomes something that becomes repetitive, which is why relationships and marriages and all the above can just get toxic.
Yes. The attitude changes.
Like the person becomes unagreeable, the person becomes miserable. They, start to get down on something that happened in their life, or something hurt them, or children became born and then they just tired. What happens when the bad attitude comes up in the relationship?
So that's where communication is important. Connecting and communicating is important. So that's when you're going to try to find out where you went off track and and then the other person, sometimes this is where the man becomes a man and also supports that situation, finds ways he can help her through what she's going through. But hopefully you're working on something that's temporary and not something that's permanent.
Right.
When you start to see that it's starting to evolve into something permanent and that person's accepting and embodying that as who they are, and then using that from then going forward, then you know that you're in a bigger problem.
Right.
That's a bigger problem.
That's so true. That's so true. So we've gotten, is there any other thing? We've got fitness, we've got scent, we've got fashion, and we've got attitude that a woman needs to do. Those
points, let me tell you how powerful those points are.
Yeah.
You could take a woman who's an average 5. Let's just talk numbers and points.
Right. 5
on a 10 scale, right? Yeah. We have a 10 scale of beauty.
Yeah.
1 not being the most attractive, 10 being the most attractive. And a person could fall right in the middle at 5.
Mm-hmm.
And at 5, what she could do is let's start from the beginning at the top. She knows that she has a lot of opportunity to lose weight.
Opportunity to lose weight. Who is gonna have?
Because think about it.
Weight loss is an opportunity.
If somebody's super fit, how much weight do they have lost? There's not much opportunity left for that.
But is it an opportunity? Sounds like
so. Then this person has a lot. Okay, this person
needs to lose weight, is what you're trying to say. The person is in a position to lose weight. It's not
or has the ability
yes
to lose
or has a need.
Has ability
it might have a
more
medical
fit.
need.
Yes. It could be a huge problem.
Medical, yeah.
And that 5, where a person hasn't, can now move up from 5 easily to 7.
Just by being fit.
Just by getting from not healthy in any way, shape, or form to very healthy in physical form.
And that means for men, I know that men have problems with a woman that is just picking out, right? So like if I know I've done this, and I just know now speaking to other men, like they don't want to see a woman getting a, half a rib steak or whatever it is, or, eating the bag of tasty cakes.
If fitness is a challenge for her, that's concerning.
Right.
If fitness is a challenge for her. Some women can eat that and it doesn't even stick to them.
Right.
So it doesn't even matter if she eats all that.
So
some women that is a challenge because we know.
So it's really the look. It's not really about being healthy. It's just as long as she looks good. She could be pigging out because there's women that have a metabolism.
So pigging out
that looks.
See now that's all relative because even if you're fit, you have cheat days.
Right.
You're gonna pig out.
Right.
So you can pig out. It's just now how you're pigging out. If you're picking out to the point where it's just like, because that's only going to lead to obesity. So if you're just picking out every day, there's no way that's healthy.
Right.
But if you live a relatively healthy life,
right,
and then you want to pick out a day, knock yourself out. That doesn't challenge what you've done so far. All right, person. So that woman went from a 5 to 7.
Yes.
This woman from there went to put a scent on. That's really good. I'm not going to say even a scent is a whole point. Well, you give it a half a point.
Yeah,
and she's a 7.5 now.
And it's got to be almost every day, right? Because you can't just
it becomes a part of her. So it might be her bathing gel,
right?
It might be her
shampoo.
It has a way of now. It's important to her of how she smells. That importance now is going to give that 0.5.
Half a point.
So now she went from 5 to 7.5.
Right.
Then now she's starting to change her wardrobe completely, so she can dress a certain way. Now that's extremely attractive because her fit looks good. She's putting the right fabrics out. She's putting the right materials together. She has a way of making and accentuating the body parts through fashion.
Right.
That shows the best part of her in a tasteful way.
Right, right.
Now she went from a 7.5 to an 8.5.
Did she jump a whole point? I thought it was.
She can.
7.5 to 8 because the scent was half a point.
Yeah, it was half a point.
Right.
I think she could get, she can get anywhere from a 0.5 to a full point.
Yeah.
If she...
Oh, because you did say set fashion. So that's another half point. Yeah, so she's an 8.5.
She's an 8.5 now.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, she was just a 5 before. She got super fit. She went to a 7. She got she's focused on her scent, how she smells.
Fashion.
She went to 7.5.
Right.
Then she put her fashion down on another level. And I've seen women do this. Put her fashion down really well. And she's now like an 8.5.
Right.
And so now she's at an 8.5.
Right.
And so now her attitude now picks up and she starts to find the world and looks at it in a different way. So now she's like, look, I think the world should be like, I'm okay with this. I can deal with people this way. I'm great with relationships. I understand the issues that I have and I'm working on. I want to be better. All of these things start to happen now. She's at a 9.5. And you know how you know this is all true what I'm speaking about?
How?
Is you can go back to some of your favorite superstars who are women and you go back and do interviews of who they were back before. And they'll tell you in their school they were ugly ducklings. Or when they were in middle school, people didn't think they were cute. Yeah. It wasn't until they came out and they moved out to Hollywood.
And it's the same thing with men with resources, providers. They all talk about, they might have grown up poorly or they might have been, bussing tables. And then, like you said, they become these big tech.
Because they went through these stages. And everyone can do this to get those extra points. Yeah. So as from a millennial matchmaker, giving offer and advice for people who want points as women to get to the next level. This is just some basic things. And there's some additional ones we could do a video on and talk later. But these are some things that would easily move you up the scale without even double guessing if a guy is thinking about this. Yes, he is. And it's important. And guys don't consciously think about it. They don't go outside like, I can't wait till I smell a woman that smells good. Like, nobody thinks like that. It's just a package that comes together and you look like, wow, she looks good, she dresses well, she's extremely fit, she smells good, she has a great attitude. It's like, whoa, and it all comes together and you're like,
that found the one.
Yeah, that woman automatically now just changes night and day. So that's what I think is important.
Yeah, that's amazing. So no, that's some good knowledge that we got tonight. You know, like I like that because these are great tips for women. And I know for some women it's going to be hard just by getting over the fitness factor, right? Because it sounds easy to be said, but that means cutting out, you know, at least.
If that's your thing is to move those points.
Right.
If that's important, true. That's important. Some people won't, that part doesn't want to change. So right. Then
you get stuck at where you are. You know, same with the scent. You could be stuck at where you are. The attitude, you could stay stuck. Right there. So, like you said, we're talking about we're talking about the modern women, and we're talking about women that want to be matched by me. I think that these are great tips that they need to take in order to really want to get this man. Because like I said, you could match him. Like I always say, you could bring a horse to the water, but you can't force him to drink. You could put somebody that you think is a great option out there as far as compatibility goes. But like you said, at the end of the day, men aren't consciously going out there thinking this. So in the back of your mind, you want to think like how a man thinks. And these are things that I didn't really ever pay attention to.
It's something we can keep focused on and think about going forward when it comes to the dating world.
All right, guys. Thanks. Have a great night.